Welcome to WYSIWYG Studios. In this video, we are going to be taking a look at part of Wave 1 of the new factions coming to Star Wars Legion, and that is the Galactic Republic and the Separatist Alliance. I had tried out Star Wars Legion when it first released. I had gotten into using the original box set, which is Rebels and Imperials. And while the game was extremely exciting and very fun, easy to learn, I was just not drawn to that setting as much as I am drawn to the Clone Wars. I freaking love the Clone Wars. And so when they announced that they were coming out with these two new factions, I just knew I had to jump on board again. And so we're going to go ahead and take a look at the starter set first, and then we'll come back to the expansions here, because really the only thing that's going to be different is what cards come in the expansions. So let's flip over the starter here. Now the contents, you have 39 plastic miniatures. You get your barricades, dice, your movement tools, a range ruler, and all your cards along with your tokens, and then the actual rules. Now, for miniature wise, you're going to get, for the Republic side, you have Obi-Wan Kenobi, who is going to be leading 2 squads of Phase 1 clone troopers and a BARC speeder. And then for the Separatist side, you have General Grievous, leading 2 squads of B-1 battle droids and a unit of droidekas. Now, what I really enjoy about the droidekas in this is that you have 2 versions of this model. So you have the wheel mode and the attack mode. So this being attack mode, of course. So when it's moving around the field, it'll be in its wheel mode. And then when you go to use it to attack, you replace that mini with the attack mode mini. And that just makes that action so cinematic. I freaking love that. So yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and just take a look at what's inside. Right off the bat, when you open up your starter set, you're going to see the Learn to Play rules and the tokens. Now, it's got all the tokens that you need to play, which the tokens are described right here on the first page of the rule book here. So, you know, you've got your shield tokens, you've got your various objective tokens, your order tokens, your round token, so forth and so on. So we're just going to thumb through the Learn to Play guide real quick. This is designed for new players to get a feel for the game. You're going to use the basic rules for a handful of games, whatever you need to get used to them, and then you can start adding in some of the more advanced rules. And then you'll have to download the full rules reference from Fantasy Flight Games website, because that's going to have everything that you need to know for playing Legion. Real quick, you've got your assembly diagrams here, which is really neat because some of the models now come on sprues, which sprues are always welcome. And then shows you how to put together your ruler and your movement tool. And then it's just going to walk you through learning the game, diagrams, full color. It's great stuff. I really love the way that Fantasy Flight Games puts together their rule books. And then once you're through, you have your advanced rules. And then once you're done with that, it comes with a nifty little blurb about collecting and how to assemble a mini if you've never done that before. And then a little bit of small tutorial on how to paint a mini, and then you've got your credits. So really nifty. Quick reference on the back, didn't know that was there. So good stuff. Read that first. We're going to quickly look through the rest of the gaming aids here. For the cards, I'll throw up some screenshots at the end of the video, and then I will put a timestamp in the description. So if you guys want to go take a look, you can pause it and read all the cards to your heart's desire. So starting up, you've got your range ruler. They do have range 5 now in the game. So you'll just have to borrow another stick from your opponent if you ever need to measure out to that range. Then you've got your movement tools, and then your movement tools are pretty simple. They just click together. So it's like that. Pretty simple. You know, this is one, and then that'll line up to the information on your cards. You get your barricades, which I just have a couple here to take a look at. There's the standard Star Wars Legion barricade. Really like that they include a little bit of terrain. And then lastly, you've got your dice. For the starter set, it definitely comes with plenty of dice for you and your opponent to share. However, if you expand out and you really get into the game, I definitely recommend either buying more dice or downloading Fantasy Flight Games dice app. Whichever way you like to go. I prefer physical dice to digital dice, so I always buy a ridiculous amount of Fantasy Flight Games dice. So, go ahead and clean up the table one last time, and we will bring over the minis and take a closer look at those. Okay, minis. Yes. So, sorry for the glare. I'm going to take them out of their bags and show you a lot closer in a second. Just want to get rid of these real fast. So you've got your blue for your Separatist and the tan color here for the Republic. All your bases come in these two bags. You've got the bigger bases for the Bark Speeder and the Droidekas, and then the smaller bases for your troops and leaders. So we're going to slide those off, and then let's take a look at a clone, phase 1 clone. Starting off with the Republic side, I've taken a couple of clones out of their bag. This specific bag came with 2 clones in that bag, and then sorry about the glare here. This is the Bark Speeder, so I'm going to pour this out in a second. It's just a lot of pieces, so let's look at the clone real quick. I'll slide that off, and then the Bark Speeder is definitely pretty hardcore when it comes to the amount of pieces. So close up, for this specific clone, you have its head, its body, and both arms. Very good quality. I've always been impressed with Fantasy Flight Games' quality of their minis when it comes to Star Wars Legion. When the game first came out, I was nervous that it was going to be a lot worse than it ended up being. And I know that sounds bad saying it that way, but just trust me, these models are fantastic looking. So there is the clone close up. Slide that off to the side. It'll be a little difficult to get close up on the Bark Speeder without it being fully assembled, but it is pretty much the same plastic as the rest of the models. Holy Toledo, guys, this is intense. So now the Bark Speeder has 2 variations that you can build. There's its flight stand, so that's cool. And basically, so the sidecar that you can build with this, you can either build it with the sidecar or without the sidecar, and then the sidecar also like pivots. So if you're facing this way, the sidecar can pivot behind it to shoot behind it, which is really cool. But just looking at one piece real quick, if my camera will let me. There, let's autofocus here. Come on, you. There we go. So good stuff. You know, it's quality plastic. It's not going anywhere. Once you put it together, it's going to be really, really great detail. Let's slide this out of the way. Take a look at General Kenobi. All right, so here is General Kenobi. Comes in. We got his upper torso here, his legs, and his waist. Hit one of his hands, arms area, his head, and then the hand holding his lightsaber. Get a little bit better look at that. Really good. I love the way the cloth and whatnot looks on these models. Really good stuff. Moving on to the Separatists, we have our first sprue. This is going to be General Grievous. And so this is FFG's first foray into sprues. And I feel like they've done a really decent job here when it comes to Grievous. Now Grievous can be built with either 2 lightsabers or all 4 that he likes to carry. So your choice there. So here are your Droidicus sprues. Now, I haven't actually gotten a chance to assemble these, so I'm not sure which sprue is the closed wheel mode and which one is the attack mode. Let's take a closer look at the pieces here. So it looks good. Now you're going to need a good set of sharp sprue clippers and an X-Acto knife to get these guys cleaned up. And you're going to want to use plastic glue instead of super glue, so that way you get that chemical bond between the models. It's basically plastic glue is going to literally melt the 2 pieces together, so it is a fantastic way of gluing stuff when it comes to things that come off sprues. So here is the other Droidicus sprue. Good stuff, like it. And then the droids come in, so you've got these 2 sprues, which are portions of the body and whatnot. So we'll slide one of those out of the way because we've got a couple of other sprues. So here's more body, different legs, weapons and whatnot, and then we have a 3rd sprue, which looks like the special weapons sprue, so we'll start with that. So here is the sprue. I'm going to slide these out of the way real quick, otherwise my camera tries to focus behind them. But there's your heavy weapon, you got some legs, various bits and pieces. I have heard that these are a little difficult to put together, so we shall see how true that statement is. Just real quick, make sure you check your box, because I actually did have a couple of pieces come off the sprue in packaging. So I do have the piece that was here, but yeah, so when you're going through your sprues, they're not baggied up or anything like that. They're just in the box. So before you get rid of the box, or you know, whatever your disposal process is, make sure you have all your pieces. That was a real quick look at the minis, so I'm going to throw up the cards real quick. Feel free to pause the video and read those at your leisure.